Hello and welcome everyone to another episode of IDEP number 25. I'm Youssef, joined as always by Jonno.
Good evening.
How we doing?
I'm alright, how are you?
Good, sorry I'm late.
That's alright. Literally no one except the people who are watching live know that.
It's okay, but I just wanted to say it one more time so people know. Not an eventful, not much has happened in the last 2 weeks that we've been gone. I was trying to just round up news every day and so pretty slow 2 weeks.
No one has been overly offended in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
The witch hunts have sort of subdued for a little while, which is
everything kind
nice.
of pretty chill. Everybody just taking it as it comes.
Yeah.
It's good. I think the calm before the storm. I think maybe next time we'll be coming back. It'll be after the patch drops for SF5 and
Really?
maybe. And what's the date today? 12, 13, something like
13th,
that.
I think.
Yeah, it'll be maybe just before, just after. Because apparently it's gonna drop on the 25th.
But we don't know that, do we?
We don't know that,
Okay,
you know,
so it's not just me.
So, but yeah, we should round up some news first before we got Falco, of course, joining us.
That's right, DS Falco, who's joined us once on the show before, so this won't be a history lesson, but rather... so this whole episode spurred from an interview with GamerB, who is doing okay in Street Fighter V, but not as good as he was in Street Fighter 4. And as players who were once doing well, but are now not doing as well, tend to do, they criticize the thing that they are not doing as well at as the thing before.
We call it the Chris G effect.
Yeah. And the side effect of that is he said some things about the game, and...
I felt... Although he's true in something he was saying, I feel it was a bit misdirected, if that makes sense.
But we'll talk about that with Falco.
So yeah, we wanted to get Falco, and for those that don't know, Falco has won majors in multiple games, and not many people can say they've done that. So
No.
he's won majors for Street Fighter 4, majors for Injustice, majors for KOF 13,
Third Strike is one about...
Third Strike. I want to say he maybe even won a major for Guilty, but don't quote me on that. I know at best he placed second for memory. He might have won a major for Guilty. Regardless, he's
all right.
one of people that maybe I can count on two hands who have won majors for more than one game.
Yeah.
Sorry, I can count on one hand who has won majors for more than one game. So he definitely knows his shit when it comes to fighting games and fighting games in general. So we wanted to get him on the show as a sponsored Street Fighter player. Just to get
Who also plays other games.
Who also plays other games like Guilty Gear and KOF. Just to get his take on SF5, and so maybe we can create a back and forth between us and him. And hopefully the viewers will chime in, ask us any questions, any 2 cents.
That's
By
why
all
we do it
means,
live.
Hit us, we want a good, wholesome, healthy discussion.
Yeah. But for now, we'll kick it into the news, starting with Injustice. KOF 14.
KOF 14.
Because the 2.0 balance patch dropped, featuring Vanessa Rock, Yamasaki, and what's
Whip.
her name? Whip.
I downloaded the characters and the patch, and I had a bash with them for like a couple hours in training.
They're cool.
They're actually very cool.
It reinvigorated my love for the game. I actually went out and bought it. So I have a community copy, and then I thought, no, I'm gonna buy it. It was like 70% off, so I bought it. It doesn't fix all the issues with the game, but to see that level of support, it's in a much better spot.
4 characters that are all 4 of them actually very interesting.
Yes.
And they all seem pretty viable. I want to say, I know it's early, but
at this stage,
at the moment, the only person who I may have my doubts about is maybe Yama, but I'm not sure. But again, I don't know much about KOF, but they all seem pretty cool. The patch seems to address some, not all of the issues, of course, with the game.
But they've detailed.
But at least SNK has taken the time to be like, all right, guys, we're here, we've listened, we've taken it all on board. There you go. So, yeah, and different life bars for different characters.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's pretty
A
cool.
lot of nice quality of life stuff. The patch notes are ridiculously detailed.
Yep.
It's a really good... I don't know. I'm not sure if the game's still on sale now, but it fixes some of the issues with the game, and, it's cool. I don't know. I never really... I played a bit with vanilla, but then we knew this patch was coming, so I sort of chilled out with the game for a bit. So then now I can play Narco without any sort of knowledge of how broken she was and enjoy the character. So it's cool. I've been really digging it, and I know at least the early impressions of the game are pretty positive.
Pretty positive.
But I guess we'll see. Maybe we'll get a KOF person on at some point once the meta's settled and see how it is. But good
So,
stuff
yeah,
there,
Peachy
SNK.
just going, his main mid-range tool is punishable on reaction, so he's got some issues in terms of Yamazaki.
Okay.
So, yeah, so that's that. So if you guys had, kind of on the fence for KOF 14, I know it had not so much of a stellar welcoming reaction, and then the game kind of stagnated for a bit. By all means, this is the best time to dive back into the game. New patch, 4 extremely interesting characters. Very
game
fun.
is simple too. If you don't want, if the game's still not on sale, which it probably isn't, like you can go to an event and just muck around with it. It's not hard.
And I feel bad for games kind of like KOF and VF, where they just have that stigma around them, where they're like, oh, they're so hard to play. Like they're honestly not.
Well, I mean, but 13 was hard and old VFs were hard. But that's no longer the case for either
But 14
game.
is very accessible, very straightforward. Definitely give it a shot. Next.
We got Injustice 2. Well, no, we got the SRK news list.
And I hate this so much. Okay, I saw this morning not live, but the Watchtower for Scarecrow, Firestorm, and who's the Gorilla Grodd. Yep. And I just want to say, like, you can quote me on that. I'm almost reaching the point where I'm like, I don't care how broken Injustice 2 could be. It's reaching the levels of fun where I'm like, I don't care if the game is broken, I'm going to play.
Yeah. The
game is looking so fun and so polished. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one plays Marvel 3 because the game is so polished and so, rewarding for people who have like a methodical...
Same logic for old games. No one's playing Third Strike because of the balance.
Exactly. You're just playing because you just put all that broken shit aside. You're like, I don't care. The game is hella fun.
You're not putting it aside. You're embracing it.
So
you're embracing it.
So you just you take that.
Yeah.
So the issue with Injustice 1 was like the game is broken, but it wasn't that fun. So that's why I copped a lot of flack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You need that balance between fun and broken. That's why I'm like, if for those that haven't seen Scarecrow yet, just go watch Scarecrow, man. That character is insane. It's amazing. Like Firestorm is cool. And what's the other? Gorilla Grodd is just mad feral and hectic. But Scarecrow.
Yeah.
You guys, it was on today. Just go watch it, man. Like anyway, they announced. So the last Watchtower had Flash, my boy Bane, and Captain Cold, who also looked hella interesting and annoying if you're like someone who likes to control the space and put up traps everywhere and shit. And today they showed Scarecrow, Firestorm, and Grodd. And yeah, man, like the game I feel is in a very good place, and I honestly can't wait for it to drop in May 16th.
May 16th.
Yep.
Jeez. It's gonna be cool.
Yeah.
Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2 will be getting a demo for PS4. What do we know about this?
It's at a tournament. I forgot which tournament, but I'm sure.
But it's available for those who pre-order the titles.
Yeah, it's not the tournament. That was last week.
Yeah. So if you pre-order the game, you get a demo. I'm trying to figure out where it says where. It'll come out sometime before the end of April, so that's really cool. They did a similar sort of thing with, I want to say Rev 1. It might have been signed, but it was like a fully playable demo, and someone in the chat will tell us, but it was a fully playable demo and training mode for like a certain number of characters. So like people were running, I think it might have even been last BAM where they were running a tournament on the demo version because it was like fully fledged, but for only a certain number of characters.
Arxis is good like that.
So that's really cool. So I guess we'll
shout out to Arxis.
Yeah, for actually like listening and getting better at this stuff.
Pretty good.
So we'll let you know when the date for that drops. What is this next article?
All right. The reason I put this...
Hungry Box versus the Pizza Delivery Guy in a $100 money match.
I like it when stuff like that happens. Okay. I had a soft spot. Hungry Box, of course, one of the 5 gods of Melee. He was streaming one day and then like he ordered a pizza and then this dude is like, oh, I'm pretty good at Melee. Let's play. And then they played and then Hungry Box, of course, won the first match. He's like, yo, I'm going to let you pick my second character for me because, I'm that much of a nice dude. And then the pizza guy, he looked and thought about it long and hard. And he's like, you know what? That Jigglypuff character looks super weak. So I want you to pick Jigglypuff. So, like, what are the odds?
That's pretty cool.
I just thought it was, pretty cool, pretty interesting.
That's pretty cool.
If, want to check it out. And mind you, Hungry Box was drunk the entire time. So
I like that.
So just add a little bit of pizzazz to it.
And Pitchy was saying on that last story, it was Rev 1. And the whole cast besides those being added to the console version will play.
Oh, okay. So it's essentially a full game.
That's sick.
Yeah.
Alright, so Evo Japan news. Sai, the lead-up tournament to Evo Japan. The third game we knew was not going to be Street Fighter 5 and instead will be...
Smash 4.
Smash 4!
So to recap, it will be Tekken 7, Guilty Gear, and Smash 4.
That's quite the lineup.
I'm happy.
Yeah,
they're good. And Smash is big in
Japan. They're all
Smash
popular
4.
games, so like, that makes sense.
So they do, definitely... a welcome change.
Yeah, And I think even among Street Fighter players, the buzz on the net was kind of like, yeah, of course it's not there. Like, the game's a mess, but, you know, it's funny. That's funny. Good
so
shit,
for anyone
Smash.
interested inside the tournament, you know, the lead-up tournament to EVO Japan.
Will be held May 20 and 21. Games. I didn't know that.
Very
Akiba.
soon. Yeah, next month.
That's cool. Why so early, I wonder?
I don't know.
All right. This was a mess, this story.
Well, so what started as an April Fool's joke that wasn't an actual April Fool's joke.
It was a very Japanese April Fool's joke.
Ended up being... it might be an April Fool's joke. So this is what happened. Everybody woke up on April 1st to some swanky as fuck looking Fighting Leia footage.
From, of course, Eureka, who did the Street Fighter EX games as well.
And I believe it was... which characters? So it was...
well, let's see if it says here.
Kairi, Garuda, and... what's the girl's name? Hokuto or something?
I don't know.
Anyway, so it's just 3 characters, right? And then people were like, wow, this is so cool. You know, too bad it's just an April Fool's joke. And the next thing you know, within the hour, they're like, catch us, live stream featuring Kazunoko. And the people were like, whoa. Is this legit or is this an April Fool's joke? And then we later find out that the joke was the fact that the developers, Eureka, have literally made it this far with not a single leak. Like, that was the joke. It's like, we are so good.
That's such a Japanese thing to do.
So it's like very meta. And then, you know, Kazunoko was there. They had a stream for a few hours. Everybody tuned in. Everybody was losing the shit. And then we find out, yes, the game is in development. However, like, we do not have the budget to make a full game. So we are still looking into avenues to help us, to support us, you know, if we want to make a full game. So it's like, where are we standing? Anyway, the game looks really swanky, really cool.
EX was obviously super popular. And I guess if Eureka... They own the rights to the EX characters, which is why we've never seen them in other Street Fighter games outside of that. And I guess this was sort of like an April Fool's. April Fool's is like the Japanese option selectors. Like, we put it out, it tanks, haha, April Fool's. It does well like it did. Like, everyone's kind of like everyone was skeptical because April 1st, but it's
the game
Japan.
was looking so good.
Well, it's
that's
clearly,
a lot of effort into something.
They were clearly testing the waters to see like if crowdfunding was possible, if any sort of publisher was possible. Just a really Japanese way to handle April Fools, but the game looks cool, and I don't think anybody would say no to seeing those characters come back.
It looks really, really good. And one thing I want to point out, when they made it out, and then Eureka was like, all right, so we put this out. If you guys have any questions to us, please direct all your questions to the correct company, which is Eureka, and not any other companies, because no other company has any involvement in this besides us and us only. Eureka.
Yeah.
So it's a very very indirect way of saying Capcom got nothing to do with this. Do not even bother going to Capcom. It's all us. Eureka.
Yeah.
Fuck Capcom. So
I don't blame them.
So I thought it was pretty cool.
I'm curious to see what develops of it, but I guess we'll see what happens off April 1st. Mm-hmm. Don't announce your games on April 1st, for God's sake.
This is a pretty interesting video from Korai Gaming. It just goes into the mentality of teabagging and taunting and the effect it could have on a match. Like, it could actually swing the mood of a match.
Yeah.
So, for those that don't know Korai Gaming, it's by a guy from Korea named Gerald Lee. I don't know if he lives in Korea.
He's very big in the scene over there.
Yeah, and he just puts out a lot of content. You definitely should check him out, Korai Gaming. And just a very interesting video in terms of just teabagging and then the kind of the mind games associated behind teabagging and taunting in mid-round. So, yeah, I thought pretty interesting.
We always shout out Gerald's content. You should
you should definitely check out Gerald Lee's content.
He also did one, he sat down with Infiltration, did like a 30-minute Ibuki tutorial. Like, the guy's always putting in work. And I found this one particularly interesting as well. So, give it a look. What do we got here? Oh, this was a good one.
This is an interesting one for me. So this guy at the Sonic Boom tournament in Spain, he's Swedish, he's blind. He wasn't born blind, he got blind, I think he said he was about like 6 or 11 or something like that, still really young. And he plays Street Fighter 5, loves Street Fighter 5, uses Ken, blind. So he plays using headphones, of course, and everything he hears and like he associates with sound. And that's where he judges whether his character is, what the opponent's character is, what they're doing, what he's doing. He made the trek from Sweden to Spain to enter Sonic Boom. His first time coming out, wins the match. So I thought it's a pretty inspirational story. again, really hits you in that, spot, feel spot. So
the articles on SRK. There's the articles on SRK with the video, and what I found particularly interesting about it was I didn't even realize that developers had baked in stuff like, because he's using cues like, if the characters are closer together, the footsteps are louder.
And apparently, and I found that just after watching this interview. So if a character hits you, not cross up or cross up, it makes a different sound.
Yeah, I didn't know
so
that.
See, Sven knew, he's coming out, he's an innovator. He's coming out with new tech. So anyway, he made the trek. I mean, his girlfriend was there as well, and he said like how everybody like was super supportive to him and his girlfriend, and he had an absolute lovely time. Of course, it's just a matter of time and money if he can travel to other tournaments. But he'd love to come out again, had a good time. I mean, the FGC were nice, man. Worldwide was were very nice. So it's good.
Yeah, that's a really good story.
It's a good story. So about of course he's a camp player.
Oh shit! I didn't know this one. Long-time King of Fighters News Hub Orochanagi released a shutdown notice.
Yes, I mean, I'm sure everybody knows Orochanagi. They've been absolutely integral in helping up KOF and pushing up KOF and other games as well. But most people know him for KOF. So unfortunately, they're going on to permanent shutdown, and so they released a statement, thanking everyone and saying like there will be no more. They will archive like all the guides and tutorials that they have on the website, but besides that, everything else is shutting down and no more. I don't know as of when. I think it's
the article says, but that's crazy.
Yeah. So
thoughts goes out to those guys. There are heaps.
Like for
there
example,
are guys on staff like in Australia, Colin, Derek. I think even
Dark Chaotix,
Dark Chaotix, Tajgaro, and Darius.
So they're all part of ON. So yeah, it's just sad, and everybody just, as you can see from the comments, just saying thank you and that. So
yeah, all the best to those guys.
Yes, that's one thing I always see. Some of the news I put, like I might be a bit biased because it's an issue for me. I personally dislike comeback mechanics, especially overpowered dislike mechanics.
So for the audio listeners, we've got a poll up from Event Hubs asking if comeback mechanics are too strong in today's fighting games.
Well, like the results say yes. I mean, obviously everybody's gonna say yes, but it's just something for like food for thought for people. Because I mean, I remember playing Tekken 5 DR, which is my favorite Tekken. When you earned that comeback, you earned it. You had no X Factor, you had no rage, you had no super. Well, super is a comeback again, but it's not that powerful.
Yeah.
Argue like maybe M4 was a bit stronger than 5, but regardless, it wasn't that. It just, where do we draw the line? I mean, I played Marvel 3. I played Virgil last.
Yeah.
I was never worried. If I had X Factor and I had Virgil, I was still not. I'm like, I don't care you kill 2 of my characters.
Especially early on.
I do not care. You know what I mean? I still got Virgil and I still got my X Factor, and I don't care you still have your entire team with still 3 bars and X Factor. I got Virgil. Like, it just really changes the mindset of a player when playing the game. And I just feel it kind of takes away skill in a way, because you're like, it's not really that skillful.
It skews the risk reward in a way that sort of can reward, sloppy play, because you can capitalize so much off it. My thoughts on it, like, obviously I come from the old school mentality of it being too strong. And I think when Street Fighter V sort of came back to prominence and sort of brought the scene back and put more eyes on the scene, as streaming started to become a big thing, comeback mechanics...
Street Fighter 5 or 4?
Oh, 4, sorry.
Okay, just making sure.
Comeback mechanics are good. They're not good for viewers, but it's like a built-in way to sort of like hype up
for the
match.
Casual. For the casual crowd.
Just to like dial it up. And from a player's perspective, you look at Street Fighter 5, you look at like Boxer, you look at Laura, Yuri, like nobody wants to deal with that. It makes playing this game so stressful. But if you're like watching, it's like,
oh, that's fine.
What's gonna happen? Sucked in.
Oh, Nicola's here.
You played well for 98 seconds and it didn't matter. Like,
That's
and it's interesting to see this Smash 4 thing. Not one top player out of the people they interviewed said that they like it.
Yes, they like the rage mechanic.
And I'd imagine the same thing is like with Street Fighter 5. Like, I don't know if you saw the tweet from Brian F, the Master Borog.
Oh yeah, of course. He called exactly how he's gonna win.
He was
this
down
match.
on life. And he said, I'm going to do this into this, and it's going to hit him and kill him.
He's like, I'm going to do it straight, cancel it into overhead, hit him, pop V-trigger, and then win. He woke up, did exactly that. Boom, cancelled it, overhead, a hit, V-trigger, won. And he just looked at the camera and he's like... And I like this because the fact he named that clip solid neutral or solid footsie.
Street
or
Fighter
something.
5 has solid footsies or
I'm
something.
just like, I mean, that's the game.
The guy's self-aware, I'll give him that. But
he's actually super smart.
Yeah,
he's one of the smartest players.
He was bopping all the Asian players in the final round.
Tap,
They couldn't handle it.
It's all tap. It's all turn around punch. I don't know what the fuck to do with tap.
I love people that pick the cheap shit and they don't have to justify it. It's like, this is fucked up. What are you gonna do about
I'm gonna do it.
This is fucked up.
That's how you play games, man. That's how you play games.
So yeah, that's it's of course the people who play the games are gonna say comeback mechanics are stupid, but you know,
it's just like where do we draw the line? You know what I mean? There's got to be a line. Everything in moderation.
And you know, Tekken 7's doing a pretty good job of like finding the middle
I like comeback mechanics in Tekken 7. You can only use so. Just real quick to explain how comeback mechanics in Tekken. Once your life bar dips below 30% or so, you go into rage.
Yeah.
The rage is a very minimal boost damage. It's like 10%, so it's like almost negligible.
Yeah.
It's really small. And of course and then it just kind of goes all the way to about like 15% with like the less life you have if you're like on sliver of life there. And now when you're in that, rage, when rage activates, you get access to two things. You can either do a rage drive, which is a very powerful move.
Like an EX move.
Essentially an EX move, or your rage art, which is a super. Alright? Now, as soon as you use either one, you can't use the other, and you also lose your rage. So it's like, and you can only do it once.
And over the iterations of Tekken 7, with the arts, the supers, they did a very good job of balancing how much. Like, 'cause in version B, that damage was ridiculous.
Yes,
but they've done a very good job of balancing.
So now
it
they reduced the damage a bit. And some characters apparently they scale differently.
Okay.
So for example, I know it's still not released and still early, but Miguel does slightly above average damage on his rage up, whereas Bears, from what we've seen in the videos, they do below average.
Okay.
So stuff like that. So
there is a way to sort of put
there
these
is
in
a
the
way,
game.
and they're both cool. Like when you do a rage drive, your character flashes blue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know I'm doing Dragunov's running too because that's the character I play at the moment. So his rage drive is just a beefed up version of his running too. And if you do like a rage art, like the screen stops and then the character goes into like a pose and then does his thing.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's very friendly for the spectator.
So there is a way to do it, and that is not Street Fighter 5 Borog.
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Anyway, next story.
Next.
Smash.gg announces major changes to its bracket generation system.
I know this concerns more us TOs, but the reason why I'm putting it out there, so for people know, because as you know, we started using Smash GG at the beginning.
Sydney has been using it. I think Melbourne uses it.
Yeah.
I don't think Queensland does, but I know they're looking into it.
So we're using Smash GG, and just another thing, so we can tell the people that know. So as the Smash GG is gonna be changing, so one thing that you need to point out, it's gonna really help avoid double jeopardies.
Yeah.
So for people that don't know what double jeopardy is, if you lose in the winner's side of the bracket, all right, to a person. So say me and Jonno enter a tournament, we're both in the same bracket. If he beats me in winner's sides, all right, earlier on, and then I go on loser's side, winning, and then he loses further down the track, and then we meet again in the loser's side, it's called a double jeopardy because I'm playing the same person I versed in winners. So for an unknown rule that people don't know, and it's been like people have used it before when I was running tournaments, you can actually walk up to the TO and be like, I'm calling double jeopardy. I played this guy before, he knocked me into losers. And then what happens is if you haven't ran the other match that's on the same side, in the same line of in the loser side, you can actually flip the opponents. That's a rule. If someone calls double jeopardy, we can do that. You flip the opponents, so I don't have to verse Jonno. I verse whoever the other person in that side of the bracket, like right under me, is, and that person then has to verse Jonno. So the changes to Smash GG that essentially eliminate double jeopardy. So if you lose to winners to someone, you will not verse them in loser's side because it's unfair, because just you could be like really good player but you just have like this one person that you always lose to. It's unfair for you to lose twice to the same person. So just moving along in the future is just something for players to know. In case they might see, the bracket looks weird, or I was moving to something different.
Check the rules on that sort of shit, because I know like double jeopardy. I've seen it called. I've seen it like obviously you can't call double jeopardy in top 3. But
obviously top 3.
There are some circumstances around it. Yeah. But it is sort of a thing that has existed
for many
varying
years,
forms.
since I started running tournaments, and that was a while ago. So yes, Taz, that actually exists. It's called Double Jeopardy.
We should get Ziggy to chime in on this one, but it's
So just something for people to know. Just putting it out there so to kind of educate the masses.
If you're a nerd, go read about it.
Yeah.
Let's pound through some local news.
So that's about it for international news.
Yeah. So starting off with local results.
It was so fun.
We've got Expand Gong 2.
It was so fun. I only went there on the Sunday because FGC side of business, but. I spent most of my time playing Marvel and watching Smash 4. Maybe that's why it was most fun to me.
Well, let's...
I went 2-0 in SF5, 2-0 in Mortal Kombat.
That sounds fun.
That
sounds like an ideal Gong experience.
I just went to support.
Well, let's smash these... We'll smash the results out. So SF5, 7th place, Alex K. Eunice. 5th place, Dilo Like Ross. 4th place, Bug. 3rd place, finally conquering his demon.
No, he came 3rd last year.
No, but he beat Didi.
He beat Didi.
Didi's been Xavier's demon. Space Ghost demon.
Forever.
You see him 4th, YSB, because always runs into Didi, Dilo, and just like, that's it,
loses.
over. Back from the dead, Sir Angus Beef with Zangief in 2nd, and to no one's surprise, BK Sama. Well rested this year. Last year.
Actually, he wasn't that rested. He still slept like 2.5 hours.
Compared to last year where they played all night. That's
which is way more than last year when he had 0 hours of sleep.
And he got 2nd, and Didi won that one. But congrats to BK taking that one, and shout out to Yavi for coming out.
Shout out
to
Yavi.
Didi making Xavier making top 3. That's
just want to point out that Sir Angus Beef and Yunus are brothers. And, and Yao was,
and the alpha
and Yao was placed higher than Yunus. On black.
Don't worry, Yunus.
On black.
You'll
Yunus.
be right. You'll be right by Bam. MKX. Drawsome and Friendo in 7.
Dr. Awesome.
Dr. Awesome.
I know.
That's how it was.
I know that's how it's written, but I'm just,
awesome.
And just because Joma knows that's how he pronounces Dr. Awesome. So.
And Friendo were in 7th. Cab Joy and Spruce Moose in 5th. Online Fraud in 4th. Stormy 3rd. Saga 83 in 2nd. And Gilbags in 1st.
Yeah.
Good one, Aaron.
Yeah, not surprised.
Don't you just win a major, please.
Yes.
Win a major.
Oh, well, it's got one last shot at BAM for MKX, and then OHN will be his time to shine in Justice. So we'll see.
And then I guess we'll do the top 3s quickly in Smash. Callisto got 3rd in Rivals of Aether. SNC got 2nd, and Gabe won that one. Project M 3rd to Star, 2nd Sora, and Ryzel in 1st for PM singles. Melee, 3rd was ZXV, 2nd was MC, 1st was Rainbow. That's actually a pretty stacked. That top 8's pretty stacked. As far as I'm aware in terms of Smash.
Sydney won. I don't know where MC is from.
The top 3 is all Sydney.
I was going to say, but I know 1st and 3rd is Sydney.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're all Sydney. Wii U, Smash Bros. Wii U, Shrix got 3rd,
from Canberra, 2nd. MM from Sydney.
Ooh, look at you. And Boozer
from Melbourne. He plays Bowser.
That's sick.
Yeah. So grand final was like Bowser versus who does MMUs? Like Me Brawler and Olimar.
Oh.
So it was like really low T. And Strix uses Shulk, who's also not good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was it's pretty interesting. I watched up until like top 4 before my ride had to leave. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, Smash 4 is fun.
PM, I don't think... When I recorded these results, maybe something else happened. Melee didn't have a doubles bracket, or it never finished, or I don't know what happened. Smash Bros. Wii U doubles was won by Extra and Duan, and PM doubles were won by Luxingo and ZXV.
Word.
So good stuff to them, and congratulations to the Gong crew on another really successful event.
Definitely. Looking forward to next year.
Sonic Boom 17 results. Katabami won it with Guile over Shinomami, Zabuki, and Cool Cats.
I always like watching... Sorry, continue. Cool Cats with Yuri and Barrow. But I always like seeing the top 3 results from Sonic Boom because they're always just top T as top T gets. Gal, Ibuki, Yuri, and Barrow. Like, these kids aren't here to play. They're here to win.
That's a business top 3.
Respect.
There's Esports Gym had a tournament on April 2nd featuring SF5, and I think for the first time BlazBlue, Street Fighter 5 3rd, Pitchy 2nd, Just Chan, and 1st A1. I think this might actually have been his first win, so good shit to him.
A1, yeah.
BlazBlue Central Fiction 3rd, Shaken Blake 2nd, Nurk, I guess from last week.
Oh, Nurk.
And 1st, the strapping young man known as Giggles.
Absolutely. Mr. Alex Gigney.
Moving on in other esports gym news, Street Fighter 5 April 9th and Tekken Tag Tournament 2 on April 6th.
Yes.
Third goes to Just Chan. Second, DS Falco, who was defeated by none other than Dookie Boy.
Ooh. Who's Dookie using?
From what I've heard, quite a number of characters. Guile, Cammy, and his Season 1 Gauntlet. So good stuff to him.
We'll
He's looking
ask
pretty
Falco
strong.
later on.
Yeah. And then second tag, I think it was a 4-man round robin, but third was JN, second was Saz, and first was Godzilla. So good stuff to them. Like,
shut up, Peachy.
what do you say?
He said,
I'm the best
Street
no.
Fighter.
In fact, according to the bracket, you're like third best or whatever it was. I never remember.
Numbers don't lie, Peachy.
That's how not the best you were.
Men lie.
So moving on into future events, Street Fighter 5 at Esports Gym will be returning on April 16th. $15, get your casuals all day. I think there's a discount if you come left. Check osadu.net, which should be your homepage for all things
Australian FGC.
And that.
Yeah.
Sydney's BAM 9 qualifier, YSB 51, will be happening April 2nd.
No, it won't.
April 22nd.
Yep. That's
second time. So register for that online. Tekken will be back.
We have 8 interstatus for Tekken. Count them, 8. 8 people coming from 4 from Melbourne, 4 from Brisbane.
That's pretty good.
Coming to play the beautiful game.
What if they take your? Well, I guess qualifying spots are top 2. Can you imagine if do you reckon is there a possibility that'll happen?
Well, last time Brisbane came, they took second and third, so very possible.
That's right.
And the same 2 guys are coming again from Brisbane. So
it's gonna be stacked.
Good. It's gonna be actually very stacked. Also considering people coming from Melbourne, Rami, Abby, they're very good players as well.
And if you're interested in that, you can check out Hayden's stream, who is the dedicated Tekken stream.
Yeah, you won't be here.
I won't be there, but it will still be streamed.
Mm-hmm.
Dar will be stepping up. But in terms of the Tekken stream, it's twitch.tv/BlancaEXX.
Yes.
So check that out.
BlancaEXX.
And then twitch.tv/Osado for top 8.
We'll be streaming everything.
Yeah. So one last note on that is that Skullgirls will be running a bracket at 4 o'clock, and there will be Steam keys up for grabs for new players. So shout outs to those guys. Come back real strong.
Yeah, shout outs to Skullgirls.
So yeah, that'll be a good one. I'm really sad to be missing that. Sonic Boom 18 will be coming back April 23rd. You know the deal. $5 for entry, $5 for tournament.
Stop letting the top tier whores win.
Or be a top tier whore yourself.
Or be a top tier whore yourself, and take down the crown.
Yeah. Tasmanian news.
Oh,
they'll be having an Injustice 2 launch event on May 17th.
The day after the game drops.
I wasn't sure when to pop this story because I never want them to get lost. But anyway,
we can remind people.
Yeah.
Tazzy Wazzy.
So that'll be happening at Area 52 Esports. It'll be a $5 tournament which kicks off at 6 p.m. They'll have DS4 pads, but bring your own shit because you're grown men and women, and you should be able to figure that out on your own. So there are a couple of BAM announcements that got dropped, such as Daigo the Beast Umehara and Infiltration the Evo champion are confirmed in attendance. It'll be interesting to see how these guys do because they've sort of had a rocky start to the season. Infiltration pulled out of NCR this weekend because he just said
he's not ready.
I'm not ready.
CPT tournament.
And Daigo's been flash kicking his way to 2 and out. Well, not 2 and out, but
1 and 2.
The Ume Shoryu is taken on a different meaning in 2017.
The Ume Flash isn't as good as the Ume Shoryu.
No.
So hey, I mean, I'm sure they're 2 of many internationals who will be coming. I'm sure some of us know who they are. Some have already been announced. I'm sure BAM and the Couch Warriors crew will announce in their own time. But there's definitely more coming.
And we'll be there.
Oh, I'll be there.
We're basically internationals. Neither of us were born here.
You weren't born here?
I was born in Lebanon.
Oh, my ninja!
There you go.
Yes.
But yeah, that's cool. And Muttons was kind enough to round up a bunch of other BAM news for me. So I'll quickly rattle these ones off. Right after Street Fighter 5 finals at 7 p.m, the BAM 9 after party will be happening, a general assembly. And if last year's BAM was anything to go by, it will be a good time. So sign up for that. I don't know what you have to do, but there's a link on Osado which has a roundup for all this stuff.
And it's also good to point out that it's literally across the road from the venue.
Which is
fantastic. Superb.
BAM 9 announced a compendium where you can buy BAM and Couch Warriors swag. You can get lessons with top players and everything. Like a portion of things goes back into the pot. So check it out. They've got some cool merch. And if you don't want the other stuff, just do that anyway. Cosplay competition got announced. It'll be returning featuring $500 in cash and prizes, which is always cool for those who aren't competing. There'll be a Tekken 7 New Challengers tournament, which will be happening Friday night in the Tekken area and is free for new challengers.
Tell people about this. If people want to get into Tekken, there's going to be 45 setups of Tekken at BAM 9. 45. That's a lot of setups.
That's an absurd
Bamka
number.
is really supporting the Australian scene. So
45 setups.
There's going to be 36 setups PS4s. There's going to be 8 setups PCs, so you can experience the game in its all 4K glory. And there's going to be a main setup on stage. All right. It's if you're only there to play Tekken and nothing else, you don't want to enter the main tournament, you don't care about any other games, you just want to, you're someone who's looking to get into Tekken, it's free entry for the entire event. But you can only play Tekken casuals and only enter the newcomers tournament on Friday. That's it. If that's something that interests you, or you know someone that's interested in that, by all means, sign up. There's also heaps of goodies. There's gonna be top 32 get prizes, and then it gets like, you know, more and more as you progress in the new challenges tournament. There's gonna be t-shirts, there's gonna be hats, there's gonna be posters. I'm pretty sure winner might get like a collector's edition or something. It's a really great incentive from Bamco, and it's all for free. So, you know, we're just trying to expand the Tekken scene as much as we can, trying to bring in new people.
That's awesome.
If you want to support, or you know anyone that has any passing interest in Tekken, and that can be at the Melbourne Exhibition Centre, May 12 to 14, especially May 12, let them know. So we'd love to have them.
Cool. And there's one last bit of news. I don't have a graphic for this one, unfortunately, but I just want to clarify something. And I'll put something up on the blog over the weekend, but I want to clarify. So last episode we announced the main game lineup for OHN 15, and I'd like to sort of talk about the different, I guess, tiers, if you like, of games that'll be happening at OHN 15.
Yes.
So when we said the main games were going to be announced, main games this year we are dubbing trophy games.
Oh, yes.
And what that means is those 6 games will be, you know, like the quote unquote main game lineup from last year. They have main stage, you know, the majority of sponsor prizes, and they'll get the prize pools and all that sort of buff. They are the premier titles at OHN, and we call them the trophy games.
They'll be the trophy games. They'll get stream time on Sunday on the main channel.
Yes.
You know, they have trophy for the winner, medals for second and third, yeah. And yeah.
And when we said that there'll be ample opportunities for games outside of that, what we meant was the tier underneath, which we are dubbing medal games. And for those of you that went to OHN last year, you'll probably remember that there was a very select number of DIY games. We didn't take every game, and you had to sign up prior to the event. And the trade-off for that was that when you signed up for Smash.gg, the DIY brackets were in the schedule, which meant they were considered for official tournaments. And you know, if you were held up in Street Fighter 5 and you were playing Third Strike, no one's going to DQ you because we knew where you were. So we're calling this second tier of games, if you like, the medal games, they are Ozhadu sort of sanctioned and supported DIY games. So they're games that you have to still sign up for, like last
Smash
year.
GG, just so like in a normal trophy game, you would sign up for it normally. It will be essentially run and organized also by Ozhadu. And
well, it'll be run by DIY people in conjunction with us. And that's why you'll be able to get it on the Smash.gg.
And then only 2 differences is you will not be on the Sunday slot.
No.
For the mainstream.
We're looking into other options outside of Sunday, but who knows?
Yeah. You know, if the community want to step up and organize stream for the game, by all means. And there will not be a trophy for the winner. However, it will just be a medal for the winner.
First place.
A medal for first place. So you will still get a medal for winning.
And so pretty much if you came to last year's OHN, none of this should be
any new revelation to you.
But I heard like, because I handled DIY, and last year we heard the criticisms of, we want the old school DIY back. If I want to show up and I want to play Alpha 2, like, I want to be able to do it on the day, impulse buying. So we're bringing back the free-for-all style DIY tournaments where, you know, you'll have your dedicated area.
Here's your space.
You can do whatever the hell you want. Yeah. But the caveat being is that, you know, if you're in a 4-man Arcana Heart 2 tournament and you get caught in Street Fighter 5, like, it's on you.
Yeah.
So
because this is we're just providing you with the space to run your thing. Like, for example, I'm guessing like people like Project M or 64 Brawl or
possibly
stuff like that. Like, you know.
I don't want to put any names
like
sort of where things
for
fall.
example, you know, like they'll most probably be in the DIY section. Or maybe not even, I don't know, but something like that. People want to run like a Gundam tournament or
But
something.
yeah, the point is...
like, this is your section, you have free reign.
Yeah.
Do as you please.
So for the very, very, very small games who just want to sort of like go around and hustle and try and get people through the door, the old school DIY is back, but we also want to keep the good stuff of last year and support the communities who support themselves with what we call the medal games. So there you go. We have trophy games, medal games.
So to give you an example,
games.
for example, like a medal game would be like ST.
ST.
ST is definitely a medal game.
Probably going to be a medal game.
The medal game. At the moment, COF 14 is a medal game as well.
Probably. We don't want to speak too concretely, but
just to give you an idea how things are running.
Yeah.
And of course, we still have the main 6 games, which are, of course, Smash 4, Smash Melee, Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7, Injustice 2, and Guilty Gear Xrd Rev 2.
Yep.
So they're the 6 main games. That will get the full shebang.
So yeah, I'll put that's a lot of words, but I'll put a thing up on the site. I just thought I'd mention it on the topic of majors. So I'm going to call our guest because the last story, actually, I'd like to get his input on as it will be act as the springboard. For our discussion. Falco, Adric, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I've been better, but what are you going to do?
Who knows?
So
I missed out on all the news for some reason. What happened?
For some reason.
What do you mean you missed out?
Oh, he dropped. Let's call him again.
Thank you.
What did you do? I
didn't do anything.
I don't believe him.
Can we kick him off?
We can kick him off.
You're done, bro. You're done.
Oh, by the way, for those watching at home, you should definitely, or those listening at home, you should definitely check out this lovely picture. So Falco doesn't have a webcam, but he's provided us with a lovely picture of himself for the stream viewers.
This is actually the most accurate representation.
Yeah, I've never seen anything more accurate. So,
that's a great picture.
It is.
Can you give some backstory on this picture just before we talk about sad things?
So I got the sponsor chair, and
brag about it.
They want you to take pictures and stuff, show stuff off the sponsors, and originally it was suggested that I take it down to the beach and take a photo there, but because I didn't want to just take a photo of the chair looking at a desktop or something. It's really boring.
Yeah, so, that's what Young does. How boring is Young?
It is boring. So, dragging it all the way down to the beach, and I don't know how sand would affect the chair. So
I do very badly.
So instead, I took it outside, and I have that mouse as well. It's very cool.
We'll put it in the show notes for the audio listeners as well because it's a great photo.
It is a good picture.
Is it as good or better than Evil Falco?
Probably better.
Wow.
That's a big call.
Because I love Evil Falco.
We'll let the viewers at home decide, and you can tweet at @DS_Falco, and I'm sure he'll definitely personally read every one of your votes and tally them for the next time we have him on.
Put a lot of thought and care into each syllable of his reply.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good answer.
I'm a man of the people.
You're a man of the people.
People's champion, of course.
Now, as a man of the people, I'd like to ask you, and this will be the springboard for the reason why we brought you on this episode. So, FGC Now put out an article with none other than Bruce Gamerby.
Xiang. I don't know.
We butchered that.
It's alright.
And he had some pretty choice words about Street Fighter 5. Do you want to give us a Cliff Notes summary of the article, Youssef?
Yeah. So essentially, what Gamerby is saying, he said a lot of stuff. I only read it once, so I don't remember all of it word for word. But so his main criticisms to the game is the game lacks creativity hard. So there is only one way and one only to play a character. So if a person is, I don't know, say an Indicali player like Gamerby, there's only one way to play it. Like individuality is dead in the game. So like you couldn't see different people playing different characters and different people playing the same character and then just knowing straight away that's the person. And I think he gave the example of Rufus and the EG crew, and all of EG made Rufus. He's like, you can watch different Rufuses and be like, oh, this is Ricky, oh, this is Justin, oh, this is whoever. Whereas now in SF5, it's like, it's just all the same. Just all pretty much just white noise. It's just the same shit over and over. And then his other criticism was the fact how although Capcom succeeded in bringing the gap between top level and mid level players closer, the game is too random now. So it's like mid players are winning not on the merit of their skill. It's just because the game is just too random and you cannot contain that random factor. And then he just also goes on to say how neutral is kind of very, very lacking in this game. So yeah. So ideas, thoughts.
Yeah. Do you agree? And sort of where do you sort of sit with the game at the moment?
So to the individuality, I can kind of agree with that, but I more agree with the second point you brought up. It's like the game. So because neutral isn't as a big deal in this game, so if a button is not a heavy button, chances are you're not going to whiff punish it. Well, okay, you can whiff punish mediums in the game, but you're probably twitch reacting. You're not reacting to the specific button. So if I was to press a different button in that situation, it wouldn't work. What I mean is that if I was to hit a heavy in that same situation where I was to press a medium, it would probably crush counter you.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes neutral very... Like, you get in... There's these certain ranges characters walk into, and then everyone starts pressing either their crush counter button or, like, a button that buffers into or is hit confirmable into something. And then you go into your offense off that. And because it's hard to whiff punish these things for the most part, the game kind of, like, lacks that neutral aspect that otherwise, or most other Street Fighters have.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then, because of the lack of defensive options, once you get into this offensive state of the game, it's a lot of guesswork. Like it's probably my biggest issue with the game is, so if I was to go back and watch a replay of one of my matches where I lost, there'll be like, I got jumped in on, I shouldn't have fireballed there. Okay. You move on from that to where you get hit in neutral and then you have the pressure on you. And you're like, all right, what can I take away from this pressure that's happening right now? Usually the answer is I should have jabbed there or I shouldn't have jabbed there.
Yep.
And, like, there's nothing to take away from that. I mean, they're even taking away the jump back OS. So that's another defensive option which you can't do anymore, which means you need to jab more or jab less, and you can't learn anything from that.
Which you need to guess more.
So
yeah,
it wasn't that bad. Jump back option select.
No, people were finding out ways around.
Yeah, people will find out. I watched some a Haitani clip as early as like last year, like just after July, where he already found ways to punish jump back OS. You know what I mean? And so it's like, people, you can exploit it. It's definitely exploitable.
And even if you weren't punishing it, they're giving up a screen worth of real estate. It wasn't completely free. But I guess before we sort of talk about the state of Street Fighter V, neither of us are really Street Fighter 4 players. If we were to look at Street Fighter 4 in a similar position in its lifespan, on the topic of player personalities coming through the characters or whatever, do you think by Super that it was already more prevalent than what we're seeing now? Or there, like, if we were to look at it in the parallel timeline to Street Fighter 4, how does that sort of stuff sort of compare to Street Fighter 4 and 5?
Well, I guess the big difference would be the execution barrier for doing. So you had, like in vanilla, you had Akuma heavy kick loops, which not every player could do. You had things like that.
Yep.
So I guess that was the barrier that stopped a lot of things, or specific setups, like Kara demons off, like sweep into stuff like that.
God, I remember that shit. Yeah.
Yeah, so you had individuality there. I get, like, 4 was another extreme where defense was insane, but then you had these unblockable setups to kind of counteract it.
Yeah,
So
I mean...
4 had good neutral, which was what made it a good game.
What was 4's input lag? I mean, I know this is like the flavor of the month, but it was 4 frames. I think arcade was 5, right? But then the console version
between 4 and 5, I think.
Yeah.
So actually, arcade was 5, and PS3 was 5, but Xbox was 4.
That sounds about right.
That's why Xbox actually varied to arcade, and PS3 was the same as the arcade.
So if we're to look at that number as then the prime example of like, what other factors then do you think are contributing to, neutral being pretty much irrelevant? Because, we talked about your infamous, the quote that literally made me drop Chun-Li last episode, that, Chun-Li has good neutral in a game, that neutral doesn't matter. Sorry?
It's because neutral is so hard in 5 because things are quick, which is good, but nothing is very active in that game, which is what combined with the input lag makes it very hard to play neutral.
Yeah. See, my take on things is the reason why I feel neutral is close to non-existent in 5 is, for some reason, in SF4 you would play neutral here. In SF5,
it's the half screen. Sorry, I'm explaining for audio viewers.
So for people so which is about just before half screen, and then you would move back and forth in range, trying to see where your opponents react. In SF5, you're playing neutral here. This is your neutral,
which is just outside like a heavy punch
which is
button.
just outside a heavy, like not even so just like here. So it's like they made, and one thing annoyed me the moment I picked up SF5. I can visually see my limb passing through you, yet there's no hitboxes. I'm like, why is, I don't know, my Nikali's crouch light? I literally have to hit your back foot. Go into training mode and do this. Pick any character, pick Nikali, and just mash down light kick. Nikali has to hit your back foot for him to actually hit you. If he's always hitting your front foot, there's nothing happening. And then I'm like, why is neutral so butchered? Like, why do I have to be always in your face for me to play neutral? Why can't I actually play neutral like in the back and forth? So there's the fact that moves have no range, and then they're not active for so long. So A, you can't whiff, and then B, you can't punish, and then C, add on that 6.5 frames of lag, and it's like, why am I even playing this game? What's the point?
Was the hitbox thing as prevalent in 4, Falco? With I know people used to complain about Elena's hitboxes. Was that to do with just combos specifically, or was this sort of hitbox disjoint that Youssef's talking about as prevalent in that game?
Certain characters, it was. Generally, no.
Yeah, I think like Elena from memory, she had weird hitbox.
All the Ultra characters had pretty weird hitboxes
because they were copied from Cross Tekken.
Yeah.
So all right. So what, you're not really feeling the game at the moment, are you? I feel like that's a pretty safe thing to say.
Yeah.
And
I'm not huge on it.
Before we sort of talk about how you're juggling that, given the current state, given what we have to deal with for the next 12 months, what were you upset about? Like, what sort of made you look at that patch and think, man, like, this is a problem? What would you have liked to have seen? And at this point, is the game just fundamentally flawed? Because I feel like a lot of people feel that way just because of the way defense works. It's just kind of like you can't... to fix it, it's a different game.
You can have, or in my mind anyway, you can have offense the way it is if it's rewarding to get in, but it's not, because it's like if you can keep someone out with certain characters, but it's hard. Like Guile can do it, Sim can do it, Chung can still kind of do it, etc.
Yeah.
But because if you get randomly crush counted, you then suddenly go into this guessing game, and getting randomly crush counted is like a very common thing that could happen.
Yeah.
It's not out of the ordinary.
It's like, why would I not want to press a 9-frame heavy that's +3 on block?
Well, yeah, it's something like that.
Yeah. By the way, that's
I feel if neutral was like, if people were whiffing these crush counters and you could punish them hard for it, I'd say, you get rewarded for that by having strong offense when you do get in. But that's not really the case at the moment, for me anyway. So then, assuming you've picked certain characters, the game, there's like a second layer of the game, which happens as soon as someone gets V-trigger. So as soon as someone gets V-trigger, basically they're going to do a certain move into V-trigger. It's guaranteed.
Yes.
And it's kind of like, when is he going to do that? Is he going to start mashing jab now that he has V-trigger and go into this? Is he, like in Ibuki's case, playing Ibuki lately, or Chun from Season 1. Chun from Season 1, as soon as he gets V-trigger, is just sliding everywhere.
Yeah.
Or Heavy Punch. And then you have Ibuki at the moment, who as soon as you get V-trigger, you start doing Crash Medium Punch, buff it into Kunai. Because not only would the buffer hit them, you can hit confirm into the Kunai, into possibly death off of that.
Yep. Yeah. You can also do it off a wake up jab, just for we were having I was having a cry about this before the show. A bunch of Japanese players were posting on Twitter about how similar her quick rise and her back rise animation were. And you know, if you mistime that meaty and you either wake up jab.
It's an odd state of the, like, it's, I guess you could just say it's something you need to be aware of, and you can punish people for it because you know they're going to go for it. It's just very, it's a bizarre thing in the game that happens.
So how do you think, like, we look at this, you look at the game, you look at the state of what it is, it's the biggest game, it probably will still be the biggest game for the foreseeable future. What do you want to see change? What do you think what can they fix? How do they fix it?
What I would like to see is, there's three things that came to mind when I was talking to someone about this. Vlad, I think it was, from Sydney. One is, there's a mechanic in Guilty Gear I'd actually like to see in this game, where you can use meter, and it's called barrier, and it causes more pushback on moves. Mm-hmm. So you use your meter to push people away from you, stopping these things. Like, instead of getting plus pressure, you would just push them so far away that they can't do that.
What, you mean like a push guard in Injustice?
No, it's not like you actively force them away, where like you stop your block animation and shove them away. Your barrier causes their moves to have more pushback on their attacks.
Oh, so it's a automatic thing.
No, you press buttons down to use meter to force it to happen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Another thing I thought would happen was I thought they'd introduce multiple V triggers, similar to picking ultras or supers from older Street Fighters. Mm. And then everyone would have different V reversals and etc. And the last thing is just making moves not slower or faster, but just more active on the recovery, so you can punish them better. Yeah. So you could recognize buttons instead of... So like usually, if I'll do like button, someone's out of range, and then the moment I see them do anything, I'll hit sweep. Mm. I'm not reacting to the button they're doing, I'm just reacting to a thing.
Mm. And do you think by introducing those bigger, more active buttons, all of a sudden, because playing that neutral style, like what they've clearly wanted Season 2 Chun-Li to be, all of a sudden that becomes more viable because it's that much easier to whiff punish a crush counter button and you're not just swinging for the fences and getting crush countered and losing the round. Is that sort of your thought process there?
You have you can take any character as an example really. Everyone has a particular button. So let's take barrel, crouch, medium kick. Instead of him just swinging that constantly and then hit confirm you into a target combo, you can whiff punish it better now. Mm. Or Nakali stand, heavy kick, list goes on. Mm.
It's interesting.
Yeah. See, you want to know what I want to change in the game? And it's a massive overhaul. But I actually want when the moves are actually going through each other, like when there's no, like when I'm hitting you but not actually connecting, I want it to actually hit you when it connects.
So you want functional hitboxes, is what you're saying.
So instead of like, I have to hit your back leg for me to actually hit you, then I have to actually... the hitbox is active where it's visually connecting. So that way it just kind of expands the neutral a little bit. So you can actually play in neutral. Not everybody just... Because everybody kind of has Akuma limbs in this game. Like there's very few characters who can actually play proper foot. Like they have a good footsie button. Like, you know... Cammy has one, Birdie has one, Karen has one, Chun has one, or Chun has a couple maybe. But like besides that, like that's like 4 characters with like one good neutral button, and everything else is kind of like you have to be in the other person's face. So I want like an overhaul on limbs, so a neutral game can be born, and not just people like, oh, I have a mirror, I'm on +1, now guess. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man, are you serious?
Yeah.
So it's like, so that and then couple it with actually lag dropping to about 4 or 5 frames, like the input lag, like that's already a good game. Like legit, I think that's all. I know it's a big ask, but overhaul the hitbox hurtbox system, and then reduce lag, and then I think that's by itself is literally like we're 70-80% of the way done with having a good game. The rest, like another super or another V trigger, that's just a cherry on top.
That's cool.
Like that doesn't make a game. It's interesting and it's fun, but it's not a necessity for a game. You need the neutral. If a game without a neutral is not a game. I think
like you make a good point though, Falco, in terms of, you know, if there are multiple options within a character, all of a sudden, you know, like look at this game now. We have the default colors on every character. So you have 2 colors. So you literally can't even like make your mark like that. And then, you know, given sort of the state of offense, it's like it's very hard to play. Like Cammy is played in one way. And sort of how you scum your way in is how you scum your way in. But when you're in, you're sort of like, are they going to jab or are they not going to jab? And I definitely see from that side of things, like adding the second V trigger, like is sort of baking in that fucking character variety, which this game is so like lacking.
And even like another super.
Yeah, I
so
think,
people can pick.
But I think to me that's step 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Because the funny thing to me is the same people who are complaining about the jump back OS leaving. So people who had DPs in season 1 and then lost the invincibility on that. Well, the argument there was, well, these like only 4 characters have meterless DPs. And I'm thinking, yeah, okay, that's fine. And I remember we even said on this show, why are you taking away defensive options? Why are you constantly trying to take more defensive options? Instead of looking at 4 characters and saying, well, only 4 characters have DP, take them away from them. We'll give other characters other options on Wake Up to account for.
It just takes away from diversity.
And then the fact that jump back tech is going, like, sure, there's this new backdash tech, which kind of doesn't really replace it. It has some uses, obviously, but to me, like, because in 2.5, right, they've looked at Boxer and Ibuki and they've said, yeah, that's fine. And that's fine. If that's the road they want to go down, if they want to reward that kind of offense, fine. But then, what about the other play styles? It's at the moment, it seems very like tunnel vision into this sort of one play style that you need to play to succeed. And even Gamerby said in his interview, you need to do that.
It just
the way the game is
all offense. Like, how many zoning characters are there in 5?
Guile is the only viable
one. Let's say 1.
What do you reckon, Falco? Like, does that sort of have any, as a competitive player, does that sort of ring any sort of truths to your findings as you've been playing?
What, that you have to pick a top tier?
Yeah, and just sort of like the defensive bullshit in general. Well, you talked about that before.
You can, like, Street Fighter is, quote, balanced in that you can win with pretty much most characters, but the consistency of most of the characters is not very high.
But is that a fault of the? Is that a fault of the player or is that a fault of the game?
It's fault of the game, I guess.
Yeah, that's why. That's what the people don't want. They're like, if someone's not consistent, it should be on them. You shouldn't be punished just because the game is lacking.
So if you play a set with someone and you're like, I don't know, Fang, and the other player is whoever, let's say Rog. So the Fang can still win. The game is balanced in that because the offense is the way it is, you can guess or not guess your way to victory. But the Rog's going to get more chances to do that. And it's similar to Ibuki. Like a lot of people, like a common thing is that Ibuki matches don't start until she has V-Trigger. And then she can kill you or not kill you if you guess right.
Sounds
you
about
get more
right.
chances with top tiers.
Yeah.
That's this game. It's not that you can't win. It's just the consistency. It's really hard to win with majority of a neutral character, air quote.
Yeah.
Going to a comment from the Facebook post in the Australian FGC page, when someone posted the article, KG actually made a good point. He goes, there's how many characters in the game? 27 characters or something. And he's like, yeah, 24, even less. And he goes, there's 9 out of these characters that are all viable. And then he just kind of gave a mathematical, he goes 37.9, I don't know, I forgot, percent of these characters are viable. He's like, if you can't accept a game with almost 40% of the cast viable, then you shouldn't play this game.
You shouldn't play Capcom games.
You shouldn't play Capcom games. And in a way he does, was it 37 or 27? Sounds a bit too much. Maybe 27. So let's say 30%. A game with a third of the cast viable isn't that bad. Like, let's be real. Especially considering...
No, I didn't say that... Look, I said the game was balanced. It's just the game's inherent mechanics are bad.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not that the characters are imbalanced.
That's what I was gonna get at. So you have these characters that are viable, but then at the end of the day, what makes or breaks the character is their mechanics and what they offer. So it's not the character itself; it's just the game. So, which is a bit unfortunate.
Well, we've got to put up with it for another year, right?
Actually, another thing that I wanted to talk about, H actually brought up a very good point, which goes back to individuality. And he was saying how people who spend all these years, perfecting the art of neutral, you know what I mean? Like working on their footsies, working on their fundamentals, just so they can excel and win the neutral. Like, they're really getting punished in this game. Because 2 types of people are getting punished in the game. The first one was this one, and he gave an example of, say, Daigo and Momochi, who are masters of the neutral. He goes, they're just, being punished in this game for doing something right. And he goes, the second type of people that are being punished in this game, who are the creative minds and the execution monsters. And they don't have any time to shine or be creative or show off their awesome execution, to please the crowd or just please yourselves or just add another depth or another layer to the game. And he's like, players like, Sako and Latif, and I forgot who the third one was that he also gave an example of. So in this game, like, all this is gone. So we said how there's no neutral. So, people like Daigo and Momochi aren't, doing the thing. We said there's no creativity and there's no hard execution combo. So people like, Sako and Latif aren't doing the thing. So that's why then it's like, whether everything is just one dimensional. You know what I mean? So, so on this point, I want to bring up a point that actually me and Vlad spoke about. And I think it's a very good point. And I don't know which Born Free interview that someone said the exact same thing. I think it was Momochi. He actually said he would like that exact same thing pointed out. He goes, he wants, in the game, if someone hits a combo, but he hits it at a perfect frame, he wants the player to be rewarded with a bit more damage. And then something on the screen just comes up and says, like, just frame or perfect import. Just something small. You're still doing the same combo as the other person, but it just gives the players motivation to work harder just to hit that perfect input and get them a few more points extra, in damage, which I thought was a very, very good concept. It's kind of, because it kind of shuts down all these people, this game has no execution, blah, blah, blah. It's, dollar combo, which I thought was pretty interesting.
Yeah. But, like, there's lots of suggestions for... I mean, who knows if any of the suggestions would actually improve the game? Who knows?
It's all falling on deaf ears at the moment anyway.
Yeah.
That's probably the most frustrating thing about the situation. Is like, we don't even have a fucking Player 2 rematch. Like, how can we expect them to fix major problems of this game when, the core product is still such a shit show?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, take away the actual balance of anything to do. Yeah, the Player 2 still having the thumbs up is pretty funny.
It's just like, we don't even talk about it at this point because it's just been said to death. But, we're talking about these, like, these issues that affect a small portion of the players, the competitive scene. But then it's like, the product is still complete horseshit. Sorry, we are going to get back to you in a second, Falco, but I'm going to soapbox in a minute. I have lost, in the last 2 days, a total of 1.8k points online from my client crashing without an error message. 1.8. You know how many? That's 9 crashes. The game crashed 9 times without an error message. It's just, it's a problem. But I'm going to use this as a jumping off point to ask you about where you're at the moment. Because
Before you,
okay.
We just got a question from the chat. Dejan's asking, what are your thoughts on Alex, and do you think he'll ever get good in SF5?
My answer to that is, at the moment, Alex is not very good. The patch is not going to suddenly jump him up in the tiers. And as to if he'll ever be good, who knows?
Yeah. Go on.
Okay, so bouncing up. So SF5's a shit show. You're not really enjoying it. I guess
we should at some
Duty
point
Fighter
address
5.
the good points of SF5.
we will. Like,
just so people know.
When you beat an international again this year, Falco, we'll talk about how good the game is and how it's rewarding skilled players and all that stuff. So if you could just beat Cian again, or beat his teammate this time, just beat Infiltration. You've already beaten one Evo champ, beat another washed up champ, and then we can talk about some good
shots. Jonathan, please.
But so then I guess how are you juggling that? Like, you obviously need to be competitive in Street Fighter 5 because it's like the biggest game, but I know that you're a big Rock Howard advocate and then by extension a KOF 14 advocate. So how are you sort of balancing the different games, and what is your, like, I guess, training regimen like on a week-to-week basis?
Well, it's funny. After Season 2 dropped, I was playing a whole bunch of Street Fighter 5, and then I was like, then the patch notes dropped, and the patch notes are when I was like, I'm stuck with this for a year.
Yeah.
And ZG messaged me, DSCG, and he said, man, you've been playing the game a lot lately. You never used to do that. I was like, yeah, why am I doing this? So after he said that, I
You stopped playing out of spite?
No, it was like, why am I playing this so much? I could be playing, I don't know, other games that I enjoy, or Guilty Gear, or KOF. And
I know, options. Who would have thought life gives you options?
One of the things about 5 is that it doesn't require training room much.
Yeah.
Like, there's a few things, but once you've nailed those things for the most part, it's muscle memory, which as long as you do it, I don't know, like a decent amount, you don't need to lab the game. So you don't actually need to spend much time on it as far as execution goes, so you can spend that time elsewhere. So then it's about matchups, I guess.
And it's funny because GamerBee brought up... Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Okay.
Yeah, he was saying that in 4 he was labbing situations, and then in 5 it's all about player matchups. He's just like, because it's a quote unquote shallow game at the moment. It's just sort of picking up on player tendencies more than, labbing characters because of, where the game is in terms of like play styles and all that sort of stuff.
See,
yes.
KG said one thing just to reinforce your point. He said he was talking to him the other day, and he's like, games that aren't tech heavy, America excels at. He goes, that's why in games like ST and SF5, America can actually hang with the rest of the world, i.e. Japan. He goes, but if you look at games like Third Strike and 4S, America just has no chance. Sorry, not 4S.
4S.
Third Strike and
the classic Fightcade hack.
and SF4. He goes, Japan. America just can't hang with Japan. It's just Asia's just too strong.
I can kind of see where it's coming from, but then if you were to throw in Marvel, which is a very tech heavy game,
that's a good point.
A wrench in that argument.
That's a good point.
But my rebuttal to that, the amount of people that play, well, he said it's only from a Street Fighter point of view, right?
Well, okay, fair enough.
And when like for example, look at Agio Joe when he first came to America. He had tech that no one had seen. He pulverized all of America. And
then they bullied him into quitting.
And then, he didn't...
They had the real tech.
Show up
Make
again.
him quit.
And then, same thing as well when Nemo came out. No one knew about Nova Spencer Strange. And then he came out with that tech, and then boom, like everybody, he was public enemy number 1. He's winning it so much, and people are like, wow, this guy is...
No, but he didn't win everything.
He won the 2 money matches.
He just did really well.
Yeah. I mean, alright. But again, tech. You know what I'm saying? And also, my other point was the amount of people that play Marvel in America compared to, like, Japan is pretty skewed. So that's why it's, like, not that many Marvel heads in Japan as opposed to America.
But a lot of the a lot of the top SF players did try Marvel, and
Daigo tried it.
Yeah, I remember.
Chiquito tried it.
Yeah, he see even Takeda brought the tech in vanilla. He was the one who started popping X Factor on level 1. He was the one that brought that tech forward. That's why level 1 X Factor got nerfed so hard in Ultimate. It was because of Takeda. See, they're always in Japan is very good with the tech. Even Abigail. Look at Abigail. Look at his team, and you're like, who the hell plays? Tron, Thor, She-Hulk.
In the case of America, we get to pretty much see everything they do.
Yeah.
You don't see anything Nemo does until he goes to America, or unless you're like heavily invested into the game.
It's a little bit different nowadays.
Actually, you could have, because he was part of Black Eye, and that would stream regularly. Him and Abigail. And
yeah, that's what I mean by if you're invested into the game. If I am random viewer guy who's into Marvel who plays it casually, I'm probably not going to be watching Nemo's stream.
That's
True.
So, all right, SF5 is a pretty low investment game. So you've just sort of you're telling me you can be good at Street Fighter 5 while simultaneously playing games that are not called Street Fighter 5. Just please tell me how that's physically possible. Oh, sponsored one.
It's because there's a lot of crossover between fighting games. They're all pretty similar.
So then what is your, if BAM's coming up, right? How are you divvying your time? If you don't mind me sort of prying into your, what does your divvy look like for sort of splitting between your loves and, your duties, I guess?
I finished Mass Effect recently.
Yeah.
And then I started playing Near Automata.
Yeah, this isn't the answer. This is wrong. You're not allowed to do this. This is wrong.
No, I play. I don't know. I play people every now and then, like every second night or something for a set. But
what games are you entering at BAM? Let's start with that.
KOF, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, and Street Fighter Teams.
Is that it?
What else is there?
But I mean, I remember Falco from 2 years ago would enter every single bracket. You were Tio's nightmare.
I'm not. Is Blaze Blue there? I don't know.
Yeah, Blaze is there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna win it.
I never got into Blaze Blue that much. Like I pretty much played Blaze Blue for everyone else in SA because I basically played this character called Huckerman who has counters, and I would just try and win countering all the time.
Classic.
So I never did that well, but it was basically just there to entertain people from South Australia. And then what else? Injustice 2 isn't going to be out yet.
No,
I imagine there'll be a setup there, but to run a tournament for a game that's not already out is pretty crazy.
Yeah.
Tekken is not out for PC yet, so I might try it there, but I'm not going to enter a tournament for it.
True.
So, what else? Third Strike's not there. I don't know what else is there.
DOA.
I guess.
So you've only got your three. We're talking about DOA 5, Dead or Alive 5, last round. Yusuf's favorite game.
Yeah.
But okay. So you've only got the 3 games to sort of invest in. And when you're saying you're playing someone every second night, are you saying you're playing fighting games once every other day, or you're playing Street Fighter once every other day?
Well, I've been loving KOF 14 and a bit of Guilty Gear lately. Usually, if I'm labbing, I'll just watch TV shows or something while I do it.
Okay.
And yeah, might play someone in Street Fighter every other night or something.
So labbing is sort of like because I guess labbing, if you're not labbing something specific, right? You're just sort of musing in training mode. You're trying to find things to figure out.
If you're not labbing something in particular, be it a particular whiff punish or how to beat a certain setup or something like that, you're pretty much doing something for muscle memory, which the game does not require as much muscle memory as other games. Like, things aren't that tight, so you're wasting time.
Can we talk about then, how do you find, like, are you finding these situations strictly from playing other players, or are you like a match video? Are you a VOD feed? What are some ways, I guess, lower level players looking to sort of expand their lab knowledge outside of, I played a laggy Rashid online and I'm going to post in OAFGC and Youssef's going to ban me. Like, Surely there is another way besides using OAFGC as your personal rage quit diary to getting better.
I love banning people. Oh, I love deleting their posts.
Well,
It's the best.
the easiest way to get better, and it's been the easiest way for quite a while now, is go watch the top players of whatever character you play and copy exactly what they do.
Until they start copying you, right?
Wow.
No, you just copy exactly what they do because there must be a reason they do what they do. And then when you do what they do, you see where the flaw is and you try and fix it yourself.
That's solid advice.
That's the quickest way to get better at any fighting game.
Copy, but copy with purpose.
Like, copy and then do the exact setup. And then if they block it, there must be a reason why either it's easy for them to block and the other person got hit.
Yeah.
Like, if you watch... Yeah, like, if you take a risk against them, you'd be like, all right, I'm going to do this SPD setup, like, 3 times in a row. Like, keep doing it until it stops working.
That's how you meant to approach fighters. You just keep doing something until it stops working.
Yeah, copy top players, do what they do till it stops working, find out why it doesn't work, and... Well, obviously, if the top player hasn't fixed it, you need to work out how to do it on your own.
But you found a problem. Like, finding these match videos and, I guess, copying this tech are just sort of means to finding problems. It's like, the points don't... Ranked matches are the best thing to do in terms of finding problems that you then go into training mode and solve. If your problem solving is like, oh, he was a laggy scrub, and then you go and post about it in OFGC, like...
And then I will delete your post.
If someone is lagging... then the game is not being played the way it's supposed to be played. There's nothing you can do about that.
You can play offline.
Find some friends. If you're finding people who are really laggy, add everyone who you meet who is not laggy and play them in long sets.
Yeah, definitely. That's solid advice. Because you don't play ranked. I think you somehow managed to get sponsored while only being super bronze online. Is that right? That's crazy,
I'm never going to get higher than Super Bronze.
That's crazy. I hope you win Evo one day.
On I think, 24 win streak, and that's never stopping.
Can you please win Evo? Like, if you win a tournament at BAM, if you win Street Fighter, or you're like the highest placing Aussie at Street Fighter, I'm going to write a post on the blog that says Super Bronze player is the highest placing Australian player at BAM 9 for Street Fighter 5. And just I'm going to post it in OAFGC and walk away from my computer and just see what happens for a day.
Yeah.
So if you can help me make that a reality, I'd really appreciate that.
I'll try. See how it goes.
So, all right. I'd like to, I guess, we can sort of ramble on whatever we want, but leading on to sort of these smaller games, one thing I want to ask you. So Street Fighter is easy. Like you said, play rank, but then find the people who you don't lag with so you can find these problems which you can then go and solve. What about Guilty Gear and KOF? What are your top resources? Like KOF 2.0, for example. If I'm a new player and I wanted to look at KOF 2.0 footage, where would you send somebody looking to get into the game, at this point in the game's life cycle?
For KOF?
For KOF. And then we can talk Guilty. Same question.
For KOF, it's hard to find tournament footage of the current patch. So
I mean, it's only a week old.
Yeah, you'd have to go for the current patch, you'd have to go to, like, Gato Ray's Twitter, who posts tons of shit for the game.
Tons of information.
I'll put that in the show notes as well. I can't remember his Twitter off the top of my head, but...
I think you just Gato Ray. Pretty sure. Yeah, I'll get it for you right now.
Yeah, anyway, keep going, Falco. Sorry.
That's probably the best source, because his Twitter will have links to everyone who talks about the game in any way, shape, or form.
Gato Ray _KOF.
_KOF. And there's also the KOF Australia Facebook group I should probably add as well.
Yeah, there's no tournament footage of the current patch at the moment, really.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's random tournaments, but nothing larger.
And I guess the changes are substantial enough where you can't look at older patches with the patch notes open and be like, okay, well, that works, that no longer works. Like, that might be a little bit much given how drastic some of these characters were overhauled.
Well, if you're getting into the game, you could probably pick up basics just from checking out previous tournaments.
Yeah.
Just look at any large tournament and watch top 8. Once again, watch top players of whatever particular character you play and copy.
X copy.
I'm serious. It's the best. It's
No.
the quickest way to get better. Copy best player. Do that.
It's also the best super in Third Strike. You want to know why it's the best super in Third Strike?
Because you can become Chun-Li.
No. Do you know, Adric?
Because you can get one shot while you're doing it.
Because you don't have to play 12 anymore. That's the right answer.
Oh, true.
That's why X-Copy is the best super in Third Strike. I read that joke on Game FAQs 10 years ago, and I've just been stealing it and using it ever since. It's a good joke.
You're the worst.
Twitter.com/Gamera for more hot jokes. So Guilty Gear is a particular case though, because that scene is hustling so hard, and I can't remember. Can you remember the name of the resource off the top of your head? That's just like that. It's a match database where it's like, I want this character and this character to fight. Go filter it.
Is that still a thing?
It was. Does Dustloop have it?
I don't know.
I'm sure someone in the there's somebody in the chat who knows what I'm talking about. Anyway, there's a thing for that. I'll have to look it up, but it's pretty much like a character. If you think of CFN for Street Fighter V, it's just like, character 1, character 2, Japanese or not, or in Street Fighter's case, it's like, points or whatever, and you can filter it that way, which is cool. But yeah, so Guilty Gear is sort of a similar sort of concept, I guess. Although, would you say Guilty Gear is a little bit more dense and a bit... Because KOF's a pretty simple game, Street Fighter's a simple game. Do you think X-copying for a newbie is as easy for Guilty Gear?
Yeah, once again, just copy. It's just the execution for doing some things will be harder depending on what you're doing, what character you play. And
Audacity's just posted it in the chat. It's keeponrock.in, and that'll give you... That's the video database thing for Guilty Gear. I'll put it...
No, Guilty Gear would be exactly the same. You find top player, again, copy.
Yeah. Okay. That's cool.
I imagine it's the same for every game.
I mean, 3D is a little bit harder because you've got, 100 plus moves to look at. So if you literally cannot recognize what they're doing, it can be hard to sort of...
You would go I assume this is what you would do for Tekken if you're completely new. You'd go find Saint or Knee or some shit if you played their characters. You see what moves they use. You see what combos they do. There must be a reason they do them. You copy them.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
But I know in my experience from VF, sometimes it's not like, oh, that's a spiral arrow. Oh, that's a medium kick spiral arrow. It's like, fuck, it's a one-handed move. All right, what are the one-handed moves? I got to go filter it out and find out what that move... Like, actually finding the thing to copy is a little bit more arduous in 3D games, I think.
That's just labbing the thing, though.
Yeah, you're right. Same process, just longer in certain aspects.
One thing I wanted to discuss before, I don't know if we finish up with KOF and Guilty, I don't know if you want to ask anything else, but I said it before. I just want to go back to SF5 and just discuss some of the good points that came out of SF5 as a game and as a tool. I mentioned in my Facebook post, a lot of say E-League kind of stuff happening for it. What are your thoughts on the good stuff, the positives that came out of SF5? Do you think they're gonna last? Do you think it's just a temporary thing? What do you see the future of the game is at the moment?
The game will last as long as Capcom keeps interested in keeping it as big as it is.
So as long as they pump money into it?
Well, yeah, it's pretty much. I can't think off the top of my head any particular thing that SF5 excels at over another fighting game. It's fine on all fronts, but try and think of a point where you would say, you want to learn this in fighting games, play this game.
Well...
Nope, nothing.
It really improves on your guessing game.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, if it helped.
If someone was put a gun to my head and was like, we really need you to say something positive about the game, and I was forced to for some reason, I don't know, I would go up on stage and say, Street Fighter is really good at knowing when to take advantage and take momentum back in the game. Now, I say that, but if you think about what I just said, it's kind of nonsense because it applies to every fighting game.
You're just being very general.
Yeah, it's a very political answer.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. It's like, yeah, it's really good in that you get a strong sense of when, like, it's your turn to, like, take advantage of momentum and how to keep momentum going. But a lot of fighting games do that. Does it excel at it? I don't know if I would say that. I say it's a major part of the game.
It's
But I don't think it teaches it any better to you than anything else.
It's honestly unfortunate with the game that I personally was so excited for, because I want the FGC to grow. I want us to be esports, because not like I really want us to be esports,
Yeah,
but I think we deserve a shot at it at least, because there's so many top players worldwide, so many deserving people, and I'm like, hey, they've been putting in the work, the effort. Fuck it, let them get paid. They deserve it. You know what I mean? Let's bring what we do to a bigger audience. Because I know in my mind, in my heart, they will enjoy what we have to offer. So I was excited. I want the game to be good. I want the game to succeed. And then I'm like,
The best point I can give Street Fighter V is that it has the most competition, the most high level competition. I don't know. I can't say it has the best. I don't know every fighting game intimately, but it has the most top players.
Yeah, it's
so it has
big.
the best competition in that regard.
Yeah,
and that's a totally valid reason to play the game.
That's its strong point. Is it has arguably the best. It definitely has the most competition.
Yeah, and like that in itself is a draw. I mean, you can shit on the game all you want.
That's why everyone plays it.
Yeah, because there's people to play with.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's funny, just this episode is actually I like the contrast between this episode and the episode we did with Shane, when he is someone who's never played a Street Fighter game, and the reason why he likes Street Fighter 5 because he's someone who literally had zero expectations of this game, and his expectations were met, because that's how much SF5 delivers. If your expectations are set at 0, you're getting exactly that. So that's why he's someone who enjoys it, and he's like, I play it, and I want people to play it.
I know a bunch of people who enjoy it. It's fine to enjoy it. It's it's okay. It's just, there are all these other great fighters you could play, but most people are not going to play them because it either doesn't have the money that Capcom's putting behind it, or they think the game's too hard, or they think the scene's weird. Multiple reasons.
But hopefully, at least hearing somebody like you who's successful across multiple games, and the skills are transferable. It can be as simple as X-copying and then figuring it out on your own. It is possible to be good at Street Fighter while playing other games. So like we always say, play what you like, but don't be afraid to sort of expand your horizons a little bit.
Yeah, it's fine if people like the game. I'm not gonna...
No. Look, like I said, I still think the game has, its merits.
I still play it daily. I don't care.
The fact that, the skill gap is, closer between top and mid level, I think that's a double-edged sword, because it kind of brings in all these people who are like, wow, now I might actually have a chance to beat, like, your Takiras and your Dagas and your Momochis and your whoever. You know what I mean? So it invigorates, lesser players to play more and try to maybe put in more effort into beating someone, because the game does allow it. So in a way, that's good. Plus the fact the game is like ridiculously easy. So like one frame links are something of the past. You don't need to worry about shit like that. It does have its good merits. And if you like really, really like, if you're someone who enjoy just scamming people, so that that game works for you. It's like, haha, I won, Balrog, V-Trigger, in your face. This is the best time of my life. So it has its good merits. So yeah, the game isn't. We're not saying you should not play SF5. All we're saying is don't be narrow-minded with your approach to fighting games. There's something for everyone. If you enjoy SF5, stick to it, but don't be scared to try something else.
So, what are you laughing at, boy?
I was just thinking that my answer was PC. That was pretty PC answer as well.
Yeah.
I don't like PC answers.
Everyone have fun.
Everyone have fun, even when we're all friendlies here, guys.
Look, no one can. There's no true answer to what fun is. Different people, their idea of fun
No, I'm not laughing at you. I was thinking of so when I talked to a few people and they're like, "Oh, what do you think of SF5, blah blah," and I told them, they're like, "What are your sponsors gonna think of that?"
Think of the sponsors, Adric. Think of the sponsors.
Look, do you want me to not be PC? This is as maybe not as not PC as I can get, but this is a big claim coming from me. I know everybody by now knows how much I hate SF4. I am in the mindset of I'm actually starting to believe SF5 is worse than SF4. Like that's how bad I think SF5 is. And yeah, I'm just gonna leave it at that.
Okay.
So on that exceedingly positive note, Falco, where can people find you this year? Where are your escapades going to take you? Now that you've conquered the Andromeda Galaxy, where can people find you? Maybe in a fighting game capacity.
Well, I'll be at BAM. I'll be at Ochan, and we've talked about going to Hong Kong, Seam, and Thailand. I think it was.
Nice.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, so those are the ones we've been talking about lately. I have never really wanted to go to EVO. I have no real desire to go to... Well, it's not so much I don't want to go to EVO. I don't care to go to America.
Yeah, it's funny because I said the
it's
same
not-
thing many times.
It's not that I have anything against America. It's just America is very similar to Australia. And I've been to Australia. So I'd rather go somewhere that I don't know about, different culturally.
Yeah.
Would you go EVO Japan? Are you interested in that?
Yeah, I want to go to EVO Japan.
Yes.
All right, Falco confirmed Evo Japan. You heard it here first.
I can't wait for EVO Japan. All my days, I cannot wait for EVO Japan.
It's going to be a good time.
It's going to be so good.
So, Falco, thank you for joining us. Do you have any closing remarks before we shut this shit down and go play Real Man's game, Shadowverse?
You play Shadowverse?
It's the best. It's the best. But that's for us
Why
for
is it
another
the
time.
best?
Because it's just like... So the thing I enjoy about fighting games, I'm going to tie this back to fighting games, is I enjoy playing characters that can actively take fun. So there's a scale, right? Like 0 is where we're both having the equal amount of fun. And the more you sort of bring it to the right, the more fun I'm having is like the less fun you're having. And then vice versa. The more fun you're having, the less fun I'm having. Shadowverse, there are certain decks in that game that are the personification of that. When I'm sitting there and I'm pushing my agenda on that board, you are having the shittest time of your life. And then when you get to play, I'm having a bad time. And that's why Shadowverse is a good game and you should play it.
You're just a bully.
But isn't it just Hearthstone?
No, it's better than Hearthstone. It's got waifus. It's like what do they call it? Weebstone. That's what the Hearthstone bullies try and say about our game.
About our game, as if you're part of this scene and you know everyone. You're the worst.
It's a good game.
I can't wait for you to go to Japan.
Is it pay to win?
No, but the top deck in the... I can't believe we're talking about the Shadowverse meta. So the two top decks in the game, there's one literally called Walletcraft, because it's the most expensive deck in the game, and it's counteracted by like the cheapest archetype in the game, aggro decks.
Right. Okay.
By the way, guys, this is an FGC podcast.
Hey,
Just wanted to
Kazunoko plays
FGC
Shadowverse, so you should play
podcast.
Shadowverse too. Like, okay, let's look at it. Daigo plays Hearthstone. Daigo sucks in Street Fighter V. Kazunoko plays Shadowverse.
Itazan plays Hearthstone.
Itazan sucks at everything.
What do you mean? How dare you?
Kazunoko plays Shadowverse. Play Shadowverse.
How dare you?
So there you go. You should play Shadowverse.
Okay.
How did we get on this topic? I don't know.
Anyway,
Adric, thank you for joining us. It's always a pleasure having you on this show, and I'm sure we'll be kicking it with you and everybody else at BAM in a couple of short weeks.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Do you have anybody you want to shout out? Any closing remarks? Do you want to call anybody names before you go?
Vlad told me to shout him out because, I don't know, I guess he wanted it. And yeah, shout outs to Darksided. That's it.
Did you just blow them a kiss?
No.
Do you want to blow them a kiss? Now that I've said it, do you want to blow them a kiss?
Alright.
This is actually an FGC podcast. Just want to remind people.
Alright. I think on that note, so as always, you can find us on our second home, osado.net, for all things Australian FGC. This is I Don't Even podcast. We go live every second Thursday at Twitch.
Wait. Alucard wants me to shout him out.
Man,
you interrupted me to shout him out. You really interrupted me to shout Alucard out.
Yeah.
you're the worst,
Okay.
Andrew.
So you can find us every second Thursday at twitch.tv/Gamera. And the archives go up on iTunes, I Don't Even podcast. You can go leave us a nice review there. Or youtube.com/Gamera if that's your thing. You can follow myself at twitter.com/Gamera and Twitter personality Fade69 at _Fade_. Had to sneak that one in there. You can follow Adric at DS_Falco. He will answer all your questions.
Very interesting. Wait. I need to shout out Peachy as well.
Oh yeah.
Pitchy's alright.
He's the first person that deserves a shout out of everyone you just mentioned.
That's I'll give him that. So, Falco, thank you as always for joining us. Stream, thank you as always for joining us. I have nothing. I have no closing remarks. Youssef, do you have anything?
I'm good. I just as well. Maybe you guys should follow Darksided.
Yeah, they've been doing
Twitter.
good work.
They've been doing.
They just signed the
wait.
Smash player today. Spud.
I forgot to
Really?
mention-
They signed
They
Spud.
signed Spud.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
Sorry, what were you saying, Falco?
I'm happy and upset.
Oh, I was gonna say you should definitely like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I got great content, push it out regularly.
What's your YouTube channel? Do you even plug, bro?
Yeah, my YouTube channel is Falzonius.
All right, that's going in the show notes. Falco. All right, yeah. Follow Falco on YouTube.
I have exactly one fighting game related video.
Is that the Zangief video
Nope.
you posted in 2009 or 2008?
It's the Alex Quick Run. Quick Run.
That video is so good.
You should put it in the show notes.
Oh my
actually.
god, yeah.
And it's Falzonius, not Falco.
Oh, we'll find it.
I'll fix it.
But yeah, thank you guys. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a good long weekend.
Wait.
What?
Is next? No. Well, we still got plenty of episodes before. Bam.
Follow me on Instagram.
Oh god damn it! What's your Instagram?
You have an Instagram?
No.
Alright.
Can we end this episode already?
no.
I'm thinking of starting an Instagram.
Well, when you get a damn
I'm
Instagram,
putting it out there. I'm trying to generate groundswell.
when you get a damn Instagram account, we can invite you back on and we can say, I don't even Instagram the Falco story. But
Also,
for now,
thinking of starting a Google Plus account.
Alright.
Also, I have a new phone. I have a modern phone now.
Oh wow! Welcome to the 21st century.
we go to bed.
Like people, they said get an Android, so I got one. And then for some reason, like every time I opened my phone, there kept being celebrity pictures for some reason. That was like a default option that the wallpaper just went to celebrities. I have no idea why.
Oh god.
I'm actually gonna physically hurt you when I see you at BAM. Like, I
Why
promise.
would you do that?
Because.
Oh yeah, I'm also starting a Tumblr.
Alright, we're done.
Can you just cut him out,
We're shutting this down. Falco,
This has gone for too long!
thank you for joining us. Stream. We'll see you all in 2 weeks.
See you later, everyone.